guys, welcome back to my channel. So it is Tuesday the 4th of August. I am starting off a new reading vlog. I'll bring you up to date with what I've read since the last reading vlog check-in, and let you know what my plans are for the rest of this week. So as of right now, the books that I have finished since the last update are One to Watch by Kate Stayman London. This was so fun. This I picked up just kind of, I think my hold came in as an audiobook from my library, so I was like, oh, it's time. And I was very slightly starting to get slumpy again. I've been reading a lot again recently, but I just couldn't find something that I was excited to pick up again. So when this hold came in, I was so excited because this is like light and fluffy and happy. This basically follows a plus-size fashion blogger who gets like worldwide fame after she criticizes, it's called Main Squeeze, but it's essentially The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, like a fictionalized version of that. She criticizes that show for showcasing unreasonable beauty standards and how there's never any sort of body diversity or race diversity on the show. And her post kind of blows up and the show ends up contacting her to be the next Bachelor, Bachelorette. Main Squeeze in the book. So the book literally just follows the season of the show, and you're basically living it with her as if you were watching the show. You basically are seeing all of the dates and the episodes that they're filming as she's experiencing them. And it was so good. This was so cute. One, this had really good body diversity rep. Not just plus size, not just skinny. It kind of covered all the bases, and it really covered body shaming and a lot of the unfiltered drama that any girl who is not stick thin faces throughout her lifetime. And it shows like internally the like insecurities that you have. So I feel like it was a really good glimpse into what being a woman in America is like, to be honest, and how criticized you are in every facet of your life based on what you physically look like. So this was super fun. It was super cute. It touched on some heavier topics, but it was mostly a light and fluffy, really fun read. So I gave this one 4 stars. I highly recommend it. So I read that, and then I took a turn. I read The Swap by Robin Harding. So I got this in an Unplugged book box, I think last month, and this was a ride. I think this was another one that I just found the audiobook for, and I was like, let's just listen to it because I have it. I might as well. This was dark and messed up. This is one of those books, the entire time I was listening to it, I was just like, what am I listening to? So I think this technically could be described as a psychological thriller because it definitely started to get very twisty towards the end, but it does not start out that way. It starts out kind of like contemporary fiction. We are following Lo, who is like a 17, 18-year-old girl who's just a loner in her town, doesn't really fit in with anybody, and she befriends this older woman who runs like a ceramic studio that she makes pottery, and Lo takes classes from her. They become really good friends. There is like an age difference, but it's like old teenager to like young 20s, mid 20s. And this girl, Freya, is married, and basically Lo becomes obsessed with her and wants to be like the only person in this woman's life. And then we enter Jamie, who is a young married person who moves into town and also befriends Freya. And the friendship between these 3 women is so toxic, and it just gets more and more dramatic as the story goes on. Like, it was one of those things, I was reading it and I was like, oh, okay, so Lo, the teenager, is just a little obsessive. And then you're reading it and you're like, oh, Freya is actually really crazy. And then you're like, oh, Jamie's also super, like, everybody is bananas in this book, and I don't know how to explain it to you other than it's just a lot of drama in all senses of the word. Like friendship, marital, all of the relationships that you can have were dramatic. It was a lot, and it took some twists. Like, it got very dark towards the end, and I was not expecting it to get as dark as it got. But yeah, it was one of those books I listened to it the entire time I was making this face, and then it finished and I was like, so it was a lot of that face while I listened to it. So I read that. I gave it 3-ish stars. You know, okay, after I finished it, I did look up on Goodreads. This is the same author who wrote The Arrangement, which I loved last year, but it definitely was a very polarizing book. That was the, like, sugar daddy psychological thriller that came out last year. I loved that one. This one just dealt with a lot of more, like, baby mama drama sort of things that I don't know, it wasn't my jam. So I read that. As I'm filming this, it is Midnight Sun release day. I'm not excited to read it. I don't have it. I didn't go out and buy it. I am like 15 years removed from my Twilight days, so I might get it at some point. Like, I'm thinking about downloading the audiobook and just listening to it, but I don't think I'm gonna buy it full price. I know that's kind of blasphemy, but also Twilight's like touchy as far as booktube goes nowadays. So, do you want to come up? Come here. I'm joined by Albus, for those of you who are curious about him. He's here, and he is ready for adoption, but he's living with me until he gets a home. So, for those of you who are asking, he's still here, and now he's upgraded to the library, and he lives with Cricket. Ooh, that's my knee. That looks like a boob. That's my knee. Okay. I'm wearing shorts. Focus. So, Midnight Sun came out. Yeah, I might get the audiobook because I do have a couple credits on Audible that are just burning a hole in my pocket. So I might do that. But I also looked while I was in the store today. They're pricing that book like it's a full brand new adult release. It's like $28 or something like that. And I was like, calm down, publishers. I know that you're gonna make the money off of it, but not all of us want to spend like $26, $7, $8, $28 on like a teen retelling of a story we already know how it go. I don't know. So I'm thinking about getting that. I'm also thinking about starting Steel Crow Saga. That's a book that I have had my eye on since it came out last year, and I saw the amazing reviews that were coming out for that. Also because I'm pretty sure the blurb on the cover is doing its job, let me tell you. It's Pokemon combined with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Clever, stylish, and gloriously fun. Blurbed by Fonda Lee, who is also a big fantasy author. What? Pokemon and Avatar? Yeah, so I downloaded the audiobook of that one too, so we'll see which one I start. Both of those are like 26-hour-long audiobooks, so we'll start one of those at some point in time. I don't know, but that's where I am with my reading. These are the two books that I've read since you last saw me talking about books. That's where I'm gonna leave it. Hello, it's an extra check-in this week. It is Saturday. I just want to pop in because I kind of have a little mini haul for you guys, because I went to Second and Charles yesterday because I have so many books just sitting in my basement that need to be traded in, and I get store credit and then I buy books. It's a cycle. I don't know when this vlog will be going up compared to when my haul is going up, but I have a book haul that is either already up or is coming for you guys that has an obscene amount of books in it from Second and Charles, because right now it's kind of the only way that I'm really getting books for myself is if I can do it for like free, essentially, like with trade-in value. So I've got some more for you that I wanted to haul instead of like saving these for a haul to film in like a month or something. Reading update before I get to that. I started Midnight Sun. I have approximately like 6 books downloaded, like audiobooks downloaded to listen to, and I chose Midnight Sun out of those 6. And I don't know how I feel about it. I feel weird because I, much like everybody else who is reading Midnight Sun right now, I grew up with Twilight. I am not ashamed to admit that I loved Twilight as like a 13-year-old. I don't know how old I was. I was reading them like when they were coming out because I remember the release party for Breaking Dawn, and Stephanie Meyer signed at my store for Eclipse. Like, I met Stephanie Meyer. I hung out with her on my break while I worked at Barnes & Noble. It's been a long time, and they came out so long. They came out like 15 years, I don't know how long ago. And I think I was scared to go back and reread the series now as like an adult because I was always worried that it was gonna like ruin it for me. I've reread them like over the years, but not in the past like 5-ish years, just because, again, my taste has drastically changed, and I've always been terrified that it's not gonna live up to like what I remember it being. Also because I've matured and I have come to terms with the fact that a lot of things were super problematic in that series, much like the rest of the world already knows about. And I'm worried that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see all of that stuff. Which I will, like, it's there. That's not gonna change anything, but it just kind of bums me out that like it's something that I genuinely loved. and now it's tainted. So I'm doing what everyone else is doing, and I'm reliving my like teenage years by reading Midnight Sun, and I feel weird about it. I'm not loving it. Like, I'm loving being back in the world, and again, like I said, it's been years and years since I've read this series, so like little details I don't remember, but I remember like the overall gist of it. So it's weird being back in the world. It's kind of comforting to be back in Forks, and just, it's bringing me back to that period of my life where I was obsessed with paranormal romance. That is all that I was reading. So it's giving me that like, I'm just a clumsy girl trope that I grew up with. So it's comforting, but at the same time, Edward's fucking creepy, okay? Like, being in his head is not as fun as I thought it was gonna be. And I think a lot of people thought this was just like gonna be a trip down memory lane. No, Edward's a pretty messed up dude, and he's very anxious this entire book, and it comes through that way, and like you kind of feel anxious as the reader because you're reading from his perspective, so you're like putting yourself in his head. And it's making me just feel anxious the whole time because he's clearly worried for valid reasons, and I like it because it is making him seem more dangerous than sexy. Like, I feel like the Bella perspective for so long was just like, oh, he's this dark and brooding boy, and I'm gonna change him, and we're gonna be in love, and it's gonna be amazing. But seeing, like, his head is really, like, reaffirming the fact that he is legitimately a monster, and he considers himself that. So that's refreshing to see, that it's not just like, ooh, vampires are sexy. Like, it's I am gonna kill you vibe. So that's been interesting, but it's not, like, fun. Like, it's not exactly a fun story to be reading. And I saw Stephanie Meyer got interviewed about it, and she said she's not gonna continue with the rest of the series from his perspective just because it made her anxious writing it, and I can see it now. I'm like, I don't know how many chapters in, I'm probably around 10 chapters in, and I'm just kind of like on the edge of my seat the whole time, even though I know where the story's going. I know how this ends up, but like, it just gives you like an uneasy feeling, which is, I think, what it's supposed to do. So, mission accomplished. That's what I'm listening to. Let's get to the books that I bought, because I did start one of them. Let's start with the actual books. I picked up a couple books on clearance. I picked up The Deep End by Kristen Ashley. This is the Honey series, and look how sexy this is. All that I can think of with this cover is how sticky her back is gonna be. Anyone else? That's how I feel. This is just a book. It literally was $3.75 on clearance, and I said, yes, please, because it is a sexy time smutty romance for super cheap that is somewhat long, so I won't read it in one sitting, which is nice. It says, enter a decadent sensual world where gorgeous alpha males are committed to fulfilling a woman's every desire. So this is following Olivier, and he joins the Honey Club, where it's like a lifestyle, like it's this like exclusive sexy time lifestyle club that is something about alphas and submissives and I'm assuming some sort of kink. It sounds interesting. It was not what I was getting from this cover. Like, that's not the vibe I was getting from this cover, but it sounds interesting and I am intrigued. And it was $3.75, so I picked that up. And then I also picked up a book that has stickers all over the cover that we need to work on taking off, but this is Maestra by L.S. Hilton? Hilton. I was gonna say Hinton. And this one was $3, so I picked it up. This was shelved in, like, the romance section, but I'm pretty sure it's a thriller, but it's like a sexy thriller is how it's kind of pitched. It's got good reviews, and I remember seeing this when it came out. Also, this is like a $27 book that's, like, not that long that I got for $3. So that happened. And then, again, if you guys haven't seen my haul, I'm gonna try and get the haul up before I do this. You'll know that I have recently delved into the world of manga. It's foreign to me, but I am pretty much only exclusively buying manga at Second and Charles, where I get store credit, because I can read a manga in like one sitting, and it's hard for me to justify spending a lot of money on things that are done like that. So I bought more. So I started actually reading this one yesterday. I got the Aoharu Ride. I don't know how to say things. I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm just going to butcher all of these. This is a shoujo manga that I know a lot of people on BookTube have been reading it. I know Emma Green loves this series. Like, this is a very, like, soft girl, soft romance, teen, fluffy thing, and it's super cute. I started reading it in the car yesterday, and I just wanted to start it. I actually got a bunch of like firsts in series that I've been intrigued by. So again, if you guys have recommendations for me, I kind of cover a lot of bases, but I am brand new to the manga world, so throw some suggestions my way. I love fluffy romance. I also love really dark things, so anything in between is fine. So we picked up that. Another fluffy little story that just looks super cute to me is Our Dining Table. This is story and art by Mita Ori. Yes. And it just sounds super cute. I don't know if this is gonna be male or not. It sounds like it follows a guy who is like a gourmet chef who ends up like befriending two brothers, who ask him to teach them how to cook, and he ends up like just having meals with them and falling in love. I don't know. It looks super precious and adorable, and the art style is like super, super cute. So this is one that was intriguing to me, so I picked that up. Heading in a different direction, I am starting a series that I've always wanted to read and watch, and I think it's just time. So I got issue number 1 of Tokyo Ghoul. I've always wanted to watch the anime, even back when I was watching anime regularly. This is just one that I never started, and I know that I should have started it, but I never did. But I'm gonna start with the manga, I guess. If that's a bad decision, let me know. But I got volume 1, and I'm so excited for it. So we got that. And then I also picked up Fruits Basket Volume 1. This is like the collector's edition. This is like the big honkin' one. This Fruits Basket, like the original first issue volume, I don't know what you call things. Fruits Basket Volume 1 was the very first manga that I ever tried back when I was like 13 years old. And my brain couldn't handle reading backwards. I was young and dumb. But this is like the only manga that I've ever actually started, so I'm gonna get back to it, and I'm excited. So those are, nope, that's backwards. Everything's confusing to my brain with manga. So those are just some books that I picked up recently. This is gonna be a really long vlog. I will check in probably tomorrow or this following Tuesday to let you know thoughts on books that I've actually read, but that's a mini haul for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it, and I will talk to you about what I actually end up reading probably tomorrow. Okay, it is Sunday now. Reading update. So, I read a book last night, and I'm gonna talk about it. I have thoughts. So, on a whim, me and my friend picked up this book. I saw it in Target like a couple days ago, and I was like, oh, this is something that I feel like me and Shayna would like. And that book is Supermarket by Bobby Hall. Backstory on this, both me and Shayna grew up reading Chuck Palahniuk books, and we're just weird individuals. So whenever we find books that are like Palahniuk-esque, we pick them up. And are always disappointed. I feel like we should know better by now, because I feel like nobody can Chuck Palahniuk like Chuck Palahniuk does. So this just seemed like it was going to be one of those like weird, bizarre little books. And I was right. I was a little too right. So I am giving this book a whopping 0 stars, a -7 stars. No, I'm just kidding. I think Goodreads lets you do unrated books now, but I'm giving it a 1 star. I'll explain the 1 star in a bit. Basically, this book, I don't even know if I really want to give the plot to it, because I feel like it's going to spoil the book, or it's going to spoil another book. Basically, this book, to me, is a direct ripoff of Fight Club, and I hated it. I actually liked the book. I think the writing was good. The writing was a little pretentious. Anytime I read anything that seems like it's going to be a Palahniuk book, it's always like a little too pretentiously weird. Like, you can tell they're trying too hard to be disturbing and weird and wrong with their writing, and they never really succeed. Chuck Palahniuk himself included. I feel like a lot of his recent books have not like had his touch like they used to, or maybe I've just grown out of that writing style. But Supermarket just was Fight Club, and I am so angry. I'm like mad over it, because if you've never read or seen Fight Club, I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I mean, that's potentially going to spoil Supermarket for you. But once you see a plot twist like you see in Fight Club, you start to be able to recognize it when it comes up in other books. I feel like that's similar to a lot of like super jaw-dropping plot twists. Like, the first time you see it, it blows your dang mind. But then when you see it again in another book, you're like, I saw that coming. Like, you can see all of the breadcrumbs that are left. You can see all of the little things that are supposed to be like hidden things. They're blaringly obvious to you once you know that that's a potential plot twist. And that's what this was, like, to a T. In fact, there was a character in this book called Ed Norton, which, in case you guys didn't know, is the main actor of Fight Club. Like, Marla was Mia, changed the names a little bit more. I don't know. It bothered me a lot. The only difference between this book and that book is we had the big reveal and twist happen at like the halfway point. Like, at the end of part 1 is when you kind of discover everything. And I called all of that from the beginning. And whenever I see stuff like that, it's like 10 times more disappointing when that's all it is. Like, if I can see a plot twist coming, I want it to be that and then some. Like, if I called it too early, I'm too smart for you. Like, it bothers me. So we had the plot twist at the end of part 1, and part 2 kind of delved a little bit further in than Fight Club did into mental health stuff, which I appreciated. Okay, so redeeming qualities for this book are coming from the author. So I didn't know who Bobby Hall was until Shayna kind of looked into him and then talked to me about it. Bobby Hall is Logic, like the rapper Logic, who wrote like the huge hit that I'm sure you've heard 5 million times on the radio from like last summer of, it's, the title of the song is the Suicide Prevention Hotline number. You know the song. I'm not going to play it here for copyright issues, but you know it. It has like 400 million views on YouTube. Like, he's like won Grammys. He's a big artist, and I like Logic. I'm a big fan of rap, specifically if you're going to use your huge platform to discuss mental health, which Bobby Hall does, or Logic does. Like, a lot of his music actually talks about like anxiety and depression and mental illness. So if you're gonna use like a huge fame platform for anything, I appreciate that. And that's kind of what this book does. Like, this book does delve into depression and schizophrenia and just mental health disorders in a really crass and like really brash way. So it might appeal to a wider audience because he has a wider reach, but I don't think people know that it was Logic, because I didn't know it was Logic until I like looked at his author picture and was like, he looks familiar. So that's the redeeming 1 star, is that even if it's a direct ripoff of Fight Club, maybe it's this generation's Fight Club, which hurts my soul. Like, it hurts me that I'm old enough that there are like Gen Zers who have never known the story of Fight Club, never watched it, never read it, and maybe this is the eye-opening plot twist that they're going to compare everything they read in the future to, which is cool, but it hurts my little soul as a Polinick lover. So that's my gripe about it. That's all that I've got to say. So that was another book finish that I read this week. I feel like it was a slow reading week for me. I'm kind of just like in a weird like putzing around type of mood. I've got a lot of things that I'm working on for work right now that's taking my focus, but I read that, and I read the books I talked about earlier in the week. I'm still working on Midnight Sun. I'm not like plowing through it like I was expecting to. I'm reading it in small doses because 1, I already know the story. It's not like I'm like dying to know what happens. And 2, like I said earlier in this vlog, it's very anxious. Like, Edward is a dark little twisty soul. Like, all of his dialogue, his internal monologue is just like self-deprecating and anxious and stressed, and like, it's not fun to read right now. Is anybody else like thoroughly enjoying it? Because I know like the nostalgia factor's there and you might be enjoying being back in Forks, but man, it's not a fun story. So I'm working on that, but I guess that's where I'm gonna wrap up this reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed like a little mini haul in the middle of it, and I will see you guys in next week's reading vlog.